Nintendo stuff extra.
Separated by Cosmic Cabinets, Brandon and Logan are broadcasting this Nintendo Stuff Extra live using our telepathic powers. My name is Brandon Miracle, and I'm joined by Logan Welliver in the south end of the video version. And
like always.
We just had a chat yesterday about the good old Nintendo Direct that was happening today, and I want to give us a few pats on the back because we did a pretty dang good job.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Like, oh wow, some of those things that I felt it felt pretty intuitive, honestly. We'll talk a little bit about it later, but I was like, hey, what about Doom 64? And sure enough, they announced Doom 64 for Switch, which is fantastic. If you guys watched the previous or listened to the previous discussion, I've been playing a lot of Doom lately, and this I am a very, very happy boy. So,
and this is the first time it's been ported back to a Nintendo system since it originally debuted.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. So, it deserved its own little announcement.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those lesser known games. Obviously, it only released on the 64. And at this point, I don't know if it's coming to any other platforms. Which
I think it's just Switch.
Yeah, which is appropriate because obviously it was released on a Nintendo console. It's Doom 64.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool, though. Obviously I wouldn't be opposed to if they also released Doom 64 on other platforms as well. But I do think it's cool that we're getting this game. I'm very excited to have more Doom to play.
Another pretty exciting thing for a lot of people, and also the worst kept secret of all time, Overwatch is coming to Nintendo Switch on October 15th.
Yeah, actually, this is funny. So I watched the Direct during my dinner break at work, and for some reason, the stream didn't start right away. So when I started watching it, it was already past Overwatch. But I knew Overwatch was coming because I got a Twitter notification from Nintendo about Overwatch as it was already passed. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird that they would, announce it on Twitter before it went up in the Direct. But I realized I just missed it.
Well, I think it's a great addition to Switch. It does come kind of late in Overwatch's life. I know a lot of the fans of the series right now aren't particularly happy what's happening in the update sphere for that game, but I think putting it on Switch will breathe some new life into it. I mean, I'm interested in picking it up again on Switch because I currently own it on PC. Assuming there's gyro aiming, which I think they confirmed that there's gyro aiming, and that's enough to get me to play.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I've never really played Overwatch. And again, it came out, when did it come out? 2016, 2015?
Yeah, and it was Game of the Year for whatever year it was.
Yeah, for sure. So I would like to pick it up on Switch when it does come out. And I hope it's a good port. I really do.
Yeah, so do I. We're going to skip some of the bigger things and circle back just so we can get some of the smaller stuff out of the way. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE Encore. So the game's getting a port to Nintendo Switch and will likely actually have people play it this time.
Yeah.
I'm glad this game's getting a second chance.
Yeah, of all the ports that I felt really needed to come to the Switch, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is definitely up there because I feel like it didn't really get a chance on the Wii U. Coming out pretty late in the life cycle of the Wii U, and then also just being on a console that nobody owned. And so it's good to see that this game's getting new life.
Moogles in the chat reminds us that it was one of the last remaining Wii U games without a port. So yeah, definitely a big one to come to the system. I actually plan to play it this time. because a lot of people are more exposed to Persona. I know they say it's a cross of Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei, but
Hmm.
those of you who don't know, Persona is Shin Megami Tensei, and I think it leans a little heavier in the Persona direction when it comes to the genre. So, yeah, like if you like Persona or if you like Fire Emblem, I think there's equal grounds to pick up this game and enjoy it. Rather than being like a direct crossover of the series, it's a melting pot of the series that ended up creating something wholly unique, which I think is a pretty cool direction for them to take it. So definitely try it out if you haven't.
Yeah, I remember seeing this game for the first time and just kind of baffled, not in like a negative way, but just kind of like this doesn't look like either of those IPs.
Yeah.
Like they really kind of took a lot of liberties in the identity of this game, which I guess even makes it stand out even more. I'm very very excited to play it on my Switch.
Next up on the docket, Tetris 99 has another DLC update coming out. And Logan, since you're such a big Tetris guy, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so I'm excited to I've been kind of trying to play Tetris 99 more. Um and the fact that they just keep adding on to it, like they keep building on this game, is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed like the other day when I was playing that, like, there was an icon uh thing where, there was only a few icons, in the sense that, if you got to a certain level, you'd unlock a new icon that you could put on to your name in the game. And I just was like, wow, I wonder if they're going to release more icons. I remember thinking to myself, and so it's really really cool to see that, yeah, there's going to be more icons other than just here's your level. Maybe there's certain accomplishments that you get, and then you can rep those as well. I was also really really happy to see that they are expanding on the themes,
Yeah.
and being able to earn like currency within game, and then purchase them through that. I think that's fantastic. One, they're not just it's nice to have content nowadays that you unlock in game without having to spend extra money.
Yeah, and these
And
are
then
pretty meaty like skins. Like not only is it just a visual upgrade, but like musically and the sound effects, like the whole entire experience is tethered around whatever game style that you're attaching to it, which I think is pretty awesome.
yeah. Yeah, and some of the new multiplayer modes that they're putting in with both the update and with the new wave of DLC is fantastic. I never anticipated Nintendo would go so hard on a Tetris title like this, and I couldn't be happier, because it's quickly becoming, the go-to Tetris game that I play. Like I have Tetris on my Switch. Like that's perfect. Um, I still struggle sometimes
Have you ever gotten a
with.
first place?
I've never gotten first place. I think if I had played more, I probably would have, and
Well, it'll
I
be a
will continue to
requirement
play.
now to play the Invictus mode they're adding.
Oh, absolutely. Um, yeah, I think like the highest I've ever gotten is fourth, uh, which is pretty good. Like if you can get up in the top 10, you're doing pretty well.
I noticed
And
in
when
the
I was playing,
iconography for the mode that it has 5 stars on it on Invictus mode,
mhm,
which is exactly the same thing they do with Elite Smash in Smash
yeah,
Ultimate.
yeah,
So this is
for
just
sure.
Elite Smash for Tetris.
Yeah. So I'm excited to play some more. Like when I was playing the other weekend for the Fire Emblem Three Houses Maximus Cup, and then I earned that. Like, I did pretty poorly the first few times around, but like once I kept, what happens with Tetris for me is I'll play it, and I'll play like a few rounds, and then I'll like get into like a hyper focused mode, where everything kind of gets blocked out, and I get really really into it. I get really quick with my decisions, and then I end up getting, top 20, pretty consistently. So it's something, again, I love Tetris, and just so to see that they're just continually supporting this, to see that, in 2 days they will be releasing a physical version with the 12-month subscription and the DLC.
Yep.
Yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. One of my favorite franchises, and Nintendo's killing it.
Next up on the docket, we've got some additional news for Pokemon Sword and Shield. They just kind of announced a few things on the smaller side. They showed us Poltegeist, which is a ghost Pokemon that lives inside of a teapot. It's funny because before Sword and Shield were officially revealed, Dylan and we were discussing what the hook for this game was going to be and that kind of stuff, what kind of Pokemon we could expect. And one of the things that we had suggested was a dishware Pokemon.
Mhm.
And today we got it. So pats on the back for getting that right.
Yeah, isn't this? I mean, isn't it inspired by
Tea
like
time.
Britain or whatever?
I mean, they have tea time, so yeah.
No, well, yeah. Well, I meant like the whole region. Like that's kind of what
The Galar region,
visuals
yeah.
were. Yeah. So I think it's so appropriate that you have a a ghost type Pokemon that's just literally tea.
There's also a new flying water type called Cramorant. And the thing I love about this is that it can swallow a fish, and then it can fire the fish out of its mouth with its exclusive ability that they've named Gulp Missile. I love that you can see the fish like wiggling out of its mouth before it fires it out. It's super cute.
Yeah. One of the things I love about this generation, the last few generations is obviously they've stopped putting so much stock and like, oh, here's another 150 Pokemon. And so we get a lot of more creative, well thought out Pokemon because probably there's more that are cut than not. And so you just kind of take the best ideas. And so I'm glad they didn't spend too much time on Sword and Shield. Like I'm really glad that they didn't. Because one, like again, I'm kind of so on the game. We'll see where I end up when the game actually comes out. Um, so I'm glad they were like, oh, here's a few things that you might interest you. I was really taken aback by Pokemon Camp, and just
It's
like
it's
just there was the one
super
moment where they
Pokemon to me.
yeah, right. Where they like, they threw a ball and the Pokemon went and picked it up, and I was like, "This is adorable."
Yeah.
Like,
And
just I
you
want to
can
play
play that with
Pokemon.
friends. So up to 3 other people can join you at the camp and you can all hang out together.
Oh, so good, so good.
In addition to doing that, you can also cook with your Pokemon. Um, you can make curry on rice, and there's an entire dex of curry rice recipes you can make. Over, I think they said 100 or more. Like, what is this? It's adorable and I love it, but why?
Just curry on rice too. Like that, I think that's like the best part of it. It's
Yeah,
like you're
that
not
says
making
the
a lot of
UK to
dishes.
me.
Yeah.
uh, and then after this, they talked a little bit about, or I think it was before. Well, whatever. They talked a little bit about The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, talking a bit about the dungeon creation feature, or the chamber dungeons as they call them. You can share them with friends. We have learned the way you do it is dumb. You save it to an amiibo, and then your friend scans your amiibo onto their game. Which
Can you
tells
save
me
it to any amiibo, or does it have to be like a Zelda amiibo?
it can be a Zelda series amiibo or a Super Smash Bros. Series amiibo.
Okay.
And most people who have amiibo have some kind of Smash amiibo.
I don't. I only have Animal Crossing amiibo.
Well, I mean, you'll be living here, so if we make chamber dungeons, we can just pop an amiibo on and share them with each other.
We can exchange them.
Yeah. That's all they had to say about Link's Awakening. We are just 2 weeks away from launch from that game, so
It did not. It like they threw up that release date, and like it didn't dawn on me that game is coming out so soon. Like we're
I
getting
know.
another Zelda game, a very adorable remake that I'm also very excited to play because it's Zelda.
Yeah, that comes out on September 20th, and I will excitedly be playing that upon launch in the week leading up to Dragon Quest XI, in which you will probably never hear from me again. At least for like 100 hours of gameplay. Next up, Luigi's Mansion 3. I have to praise myself because I totally called this. They are adding more multiplayer modes to Luigi's Mansion 3. They told us about the Scream Park, which 2 to 8 players can battle each other as a Luigi team and a Gooigi team, even with only one Nintendo Switch. I think you can also do this locally and online. The teams will compete to see who can defeat the most ghosts, collect the most coins, or break the most targets. So that's just another way to play Luigi's Mansion 3 with your friends, which I think is awesome. So, like, there's this fully featured Scarescraper mode where you're, like, legitimately playing Luigi's Mansion. There's the co-op in the main story, which just is Luigi's Mansion. And now there's these little this series of little mini games you can play with your friends, which I think is awesome. That's like a full featured package for me.
Yeah, like holy crud, this game's packed with content.
Yeah.
And not to even mention just like the main game, which they showed off some of the different like floors and some of the different areas, and it's like anything but generic. It's like everything you'd want from like a Nintendo title.
My favorite floor that they showed off is the pirate themed restaurant. That's amazing.
Dude, that's the one I have like spinning through my head, just like what?
Who came up with that? Give that person a raise. There's also the Tomb Suites, which is like a desert pyramid themed thing. We've had a lot of that in Mario games, so that one didn't excite me as much. But the disco floor, disco times Luigi equals fun, if you ask me. He just seems like the perfect candidate to be on the disco floor in the entire pantheon of Nintendo characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, October 31st, Halloween is going to be great. I'm going to spend probably the whole day playing this game. And you'll be at my house, so you can play it with me if you want.
It's going to be a good Halloween.
Yeah, probably, I don't know. I haven't decided if there's going to be a spooky Hallow stream of Luigi's Mansion yet. That remains to be seen. Depends on how I'm feeling. But that said, you and I will probably at least do some multiplayer game mode videos, like some Scarescraper streams, that kind of thing. All right, you're probably gonna go off your rocker on this one. Animal Crossing New Horizons. They talked about it.
Yeah, they talked about it. I was like I was surprised. I really wasn't sure if they were going to talk about it or not. I was erring on the side of they weren't. So when it appeared, I was like, like, show us more. I don't feel like I learned like a ton.
Right,
but,
yeah.
But they did show a lot more variety and kind of a little bit more about like, oh, what's the actual setting of New Horizons?
Essentially, what they did is they compacted all of the information that they revealed in their various Treehouse streams during E3, and then made it into a short video to just make it easier for people to know what they said.
Yeah,
because they really didn't. Like, I didn't really get to watch the Animal Crossing streams until after I got back from LA, in which I learned all this stuff. So there wasn't anything new here, but it's just nice to know that they don't want us to forget about it.
Yeah, certainly. Again, it's exciting. I'm also partially glad that they're sharing less as opposed to more, because one, there are so many other games in between now and then, and I also, there's probably going to be a point where I stop paying attention until the game releases and I can just play it.
That's how you know it's a game that's going to like really surprise you. Not only because you're deliberately not paying attention, but it's like, I have so much confidence in this that I don't need to look at anything anymore.
Yeah, I am like not worried about the quality of this game. I am interested in how they are going to incorporate increasing amounts of furniture and materials and different shops, and how those will come into play. Like, it seems like you're really building up from the ground up, which just it seems like the right trajectory for this series. Seems like the logical trajectory for the series, just to give you more control over what you did.
They're
The
like
biggest
blending in
thing.
some Sims elements almost, but like you
Mhm.
focus more on the core Animal Crossing experience, but you get to form it yourself, which is awesome.
Yeah. I will say the one thing, and it's a pretty minor thing, but it got me really excited, is that when the character on the screen was moving things around, it looks like there's a lot more like
Animation?
no, there's like smaller distances. Like it's not just, oh, here's a block and here's a block. Here's on the grid. It seems like there's subdivisions of that grid, so you get a little bit more control over the actual
Oh, placement of
uh,
things.
yeah, the placement of things. Which like it's a small thing, but that got me really excited. Like they're really, really paying attention to like, okay, how do we make this?
Correct me if
Um,
I'm wrong, but did they introduced half steps in Happy Home Designer and then added that to New Leaf, right?
I'm not certain. That may be the case. I was also wondering about that, but to know that it's just this is the future,
Yeah.
this is next gen Animal Crossing. Um, I'm very excited. Give me
Uh,
Animal Crossing.
Joe says half steps were not in New Leaf's update, so this is new to the core series.
Mhm.
Uh, they kind of left me wondering on a few things, and most of it surrounds multiplayer. Like, I just want to know how far that goes. Of course, having 8 people in your island is completely new, but I want to know how we can interact with each other in ways that we haven't been able to before. Like,
Yeah.
can we run a shop together? Can we talk to villagers together? Can we interact more closely? Because it always feels like when you play Animal Crossing with your friends that you're just occupying the same space, but
Yeah.
ultimately playing different games. You know what I mean?
I, yeah. So like obviously there's always been like emotions, and especially in like New Leaf, like you just have this uh, swath of different emotions, emotes that you can interact with people with. But I'd love to see something more akin to something like co-op in um, Portal 2. Where there's actual like animations between the characters.
Oh
Can
yeah,
you
yeah.
can you hug each other? Can you give each other high fives? Can you do like other funny things here in the air? Um, I don't know. Just a thought.
I also hope there's like goals that you can only achieve by working together. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, the Nook Miles was a big thing. Like here's different like objectives
mm-hmm.
uh to strive for. That was something that I was like, "Oh man." And even like it seemed like there was like within those different things there was some that were like tiered. Like
So you like
you
build on
you
them.
yeah, so you'd like hit like a certain milestone, but then it could go further. I don't know exactly how that's gonna like benefit or what the reward's gonna be with those. Whether it's maybe it's just Nook miles. I don't know how you spend those necessarily, but again, giving players a little bit more structure to their activities is definitely something that I think will keep the game engaging for longer, and
Yeah.
really have a little bit more purpose in addition to just, hey, make your town nice and be happy.
Did they say anything about like daily challenges, things that you can do every day to get Nook Miles?
I don't remember. I didn't see anything necessarily for that, but also like I would imagine that would be something that is definitely on the table. That's all I can say.
As far as Animal Crossing New Horizons is concerned, it really does look like they're evolving the series in basically in the ways that we had been hoping.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, come March 2020, I think we're in for a great time.
Can't wait.
Moving on. Hello, Kitty-san. Damon X Machina. So this game is getting a brand new demo. It's a prologue demo, which is basically the intro to the game. And it includes a local co-op mode that you can play with up to 4 people. So it's actually introducing the multiplayer component, which up to this point we haven't really gotten to experience at all. That's kind of the part of the demo I'm actually interested in. I've heard from people who've played the game already, such as Nintendo, that maybe the story doesn't really, there's not much to the story. But this game, I think it's easier to digest this game if you look at it like Monster Hunter, because the game is structured like Monster Hunter. You go on missions with up to 4 people. It's a really confined mission that might take 20, 30, 40 minutes. You do it. You get supplies. You use those supplies to build new parts. And then you build upon yourself rather than leveling up, which is the core loop of Monster Hunter. So, like, if you're into that kind of thing, Daemon X Machina might actually, appeal to you. And it's tough because, like, I only want to get this game if, I have a core group of people who are going to want to play it too.
Right.
That said, like, the mech mechanics and everything looks awesome. I like mech anime. I'm a fan of Gurren Lagann. I'm a fan of Code Geass, IGPX, things like that. This is, like, right up my alley. But who knows? I'll try out the demo, and I hope it improved in the ways that I had asked the team from the original demo. And, if it does, then I might give it a shot. It's coming out at a really bad time because I think it launches next week.
I feel like it's gonna get lost, or maybe the reception will be really lukewarm, and again, like, there's still so many other games that are either coming out around that time that I care a lot more about. I do wish that this game is good and does have a good amount of success, but there's nothing yet that's really, really sold me on it, especially amidst all of the other releases happening.
Yeah, I mean, we first laid eyes on it 2 E3s ago, and it just feels like nobody really cares. No one cared then, and it feels like no one cares now. I know there's a core crowd of, like, Armored Core fans that'll probably play this and enjoy it. It just seems like it's not going to reach that broader level that maybe they were hoping for.
Right.
Shadow dropped today, Super Kirby Clash, and I want to give props to Derek at GameXplain because I listened to their predictions discussion leading up to the Direct, and he predicted, like, a free-to-play Kirby game. I was astounded when this got announced. Oh my goodness. That said, this is basic, like, core core Kirby gameplay. But it's all about battling bosses. It's basically the Monster Hunter loop again. And you use that stuff to build, I think, different gear. Puff up power by crafting weapons, or use gem apples, which can be earned as in-game currency or purchased using real-world money to recharge vigor. Unlock new quests or trade for weapons, armor, support item stickers. So it's free to start.
Yeah, I'm curious all the ways that they plan on trying to monetize this, because I think that's really the kicker down the line. Is you can start it. Is the gameplay loop, appealing enough for me to spend a few bucks here and there, or is this something that I'll play a few times? I'll start it and then I won't go back to it.
To answer Kitty-san, yes, that's a Princess Peach's Castle plastic model. This is actually a sequel to Kirby Battle Royale, which came out on the 3DS. This is essentially a new version of that. So if you played that game, it's basically the same thing, but on the Switch in probably a much better format because, it has local multiplayer. That's kind of what Kirby games are about. I think this can be played online too. Yeah, it can. And that's just suited better to a home system, I think. And we're going to kind of hot rod through some of these. Quickly, though, Divinity Original Sin 2, Definitive Edition, a game you and I have been interested in playing, is coming to Switch.
Yeah, I was happy to see this. This was a good announcement.
Yeah. In addition to that, Josiah's Game of the Year of last year, Return of the Obra Dinn, is coming to Nintendo Switch. I'll just read the press release here. It says, the critically acclaimed stylish indie game is coming to Switch this fall. As an insurance investigator for the East India Company, players must board a ship, explore its surroundings, turn back time with a Memento Mortem pocket watch, and record logical deductions to solve the ship's mysteries. I started playing this a while back before I rearranged my studio, and my God, I thought this was super cool because you are essentially going back in time and using context clues. Like, you get to witness certain events in kind of compartmentalized sequences. And then you have to use all of the context clues that you get to fill out this book with different details. So you have to figure out the names of all the people. And you might figure out the relationships between them too by witnessing those events. And it all comes together in a really cool way. I haven't gotten super far yet, but like, when you come to a conclusion as you go through the game, it boggles your mind that the fact that you were able to figure that out. Of course, the game is kind of nudging you along because you have that book available to you, but yeah, don't sleep on this one. I think there's a lot of value to come out of Return of the Obra Dinn. Next up, Little Town Hero, which you said was going to be in this direct, and here it was.
Yeah, I mean, again, like they trademarked that name and it was out and about, so it was about time that they really started talking about this game. I still feel like I don't know a ton about it, but it's cute and it's Game Freak. So I will definitely be keeping my ears and eyes open for when this drops, because it's definitely something I'm considering.
Yeah, me too. I like the idea that it's like both a standard RPG but mixed with like tower defense, because you actually have to protect the town from a geographical standpoint. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's coming to Switch on October 16th, and then the very next month later, Game Freak is also releasing Pokemon Sword and Shield. So they're fairly busy over there at their studio. And then some quick stuff. Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, is a game Josiah is really excited about. He actually said he wanted to play the original with me, which actually dropped on the eShop today. So the original is on the eShop, and the sequel is on the way. Rogue Company is a 5v5 online shooter from Hi-Rez Studios. It's a shooter. I don't know if it's really that unique. I couldn't really tell from the gameplay footage, but I'll just leave it at that. This one you might be more interested in: Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
Oh my god, this is honestly one of the best surprises to me in the whole of the direct, because I played this back in the day. I remember playing it with my friend Nathan on his PC, and just you're Kyle Katarn, you're a Jedi. I have this on PC. I've tried to play through it a few times, but PC gaming for me, it's hard to sometimes sit down in front of my computer and actually play that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was like, of all the things just to throw on the Switch,
That's so weird.
Like Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, like, oh yes, 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 yes. Like, it can both be played, I think, in third person and in first person, and it's a good time. It's a good time. It's like a really big like throwback to just like some of those classic Star Wars games, which really need to come back, because there's a lot of good ones, including this one.
Yeah, so that'll be great. That comes out on for Switch on September 24th. So another September game.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition coming out on October 15th. Assassin's Creed: The Rebel Collection. It's both Black Flag and Rogue, including all the single-player DLC with touch control and motion aiming added, coming out on December 6th. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is my favorite entry in the series, and I think you should play it if you haven't. Like, for me, that's the peak of Assassin's Creed. And I know Rogue was also good, but I didn't get to play that one.
The fact that it's coming in a collection too makes it, that much more valuable. I've always appreciated those games for what they are. So I'm excited that they're coming to the platform.
In addition to that, we have Dauntless coming to Switch, which will have full crossplay with the other systems that it's on, and I think cross save too, right?
Uh, I must have missed that if that was there.
It's crossplay, cross compatibility, and feature parity. Okay, so it might just be crossplay. That said, you know, I like Monster Hunter, so I'll probably like Dauntless. I still haven't tried it yet, but now that it's on Switch, I'll probably give it a go.
Same.
Kitty-san, we talked about Pokemon about 20 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Trials of Mana, Mario and Sonic the Olympic Games 2020, new amiibo, including Incineroar. Was it Incineroar, Chrom, and Simon? I thought
I must have missed that. There was a few blips in my direct watching experience. So
I must have missed that too, because I could have sworn Sakurai talked about Ivysaur, Squirtle, and Snake. Anyway, NBA 2K20, The Outer Worlds, Just Dance 2020, Ni no Kuni, Devil May Cry 2 for some reason, Grid Autosport, Vampire, Call of Cthulhu, and Farming Simulator 20, all together in a sizzle reel. And then before we get to like the biggest things of the Direct, I do want to talk about the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Nintendo Switch Online app.
yes.
We have been waiting for this for quite some time, and I'm very excited for it to be here. Not only that, but now the online multiplayer is actually going to mean something for some of these games.
Right.
So the quick list is Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Stunt Race FX, Eat Your Heart Out, Andre Segers. It's available for the first time since its original NES release, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, Star Fox, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, Kirby's Dream Course, Brawl Brothers, Breath of Fire, Demon's Crest, Joe and Mac 2 Lost in the Tropics, Super Earth Defense Force, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Puyo 2, available the first time in the US, Super Soccer and Super Tennis, both available for the first time since their original releases. So this is missing one big game for me specifically, being Super Mario All-Stars. I was really hoping that was going to be on that launch list.
Right.
But that said, this is a pretty good starting list of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this comes tomorrow.
Yeah, it's so soon and I'm very excited. Wow, that's just 20 more games on my Switch, you know? And then obviously like I am much more fond of this list than I am of like the NES
Yeah, for
games because I think, you know, obviously Super Nintendo games hold up a lot better than most NES games do.
And some of these games aren't even available on the SNES Classic. I see some people in the chat who are like, well, I guess I don't need my SNES Classic anymore. And it's kind of true. It kind of replaces the need for it. That said, Star Fox 2 is still exclusive to that, though I do imagine it will come to this service at some point.
Yeah, and a notable lack of Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get all those titles on the service.
Imagine playing the Donkey Kong Country trilogy over the internet.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we won't have to because you'll be here, but like, given the given our current circumstances, it would have been perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is a great list. I'm excited to play some Super Mario Kart online with some of you folks, because I am like one of 5 people who love that game. Yeah, so I hope that the list of Super Nintendo games expands quicker than the NES games, but I'm not too confident about that as of right now. Just give me Mario All-Stars. That's all I need. And then maybe in the next year and a half, suggested by Conman RDW, that maybe N64 online games will be coming.
Ooh.
Because this
Pretty
is
good.
was September 5th 1 year from launch of Switch Online?
I think just about. They mentioned how it was like, oh, it's been a year, so.
Yeah, so this is the anniversary of the service. So if this happens once every year, I think I could live with that.
Mhm.
Getting a new console.
Yeah. I mean, now the question is like, how many more NES games are they planning on releasing? You know,
Yeah,
we've
they
discussed this
didn't seem to say if they were
previously.
going to keep adding them in addition to these.
Yeah.
But, over the next year, if they add to both libraries, even if they don't add NES games anymore, like, I'd be fine if they just kept going with Super NES, because I don't
Mhm.
think there's anything else on NES that they could add that would personally interest me, other than something like DuckTales.
Right. Right.
So yeah, Super Nintendo's on the way tomorrow. Uh, that said, we have a couple big things to talk about, and we'll talk about the one that I'm sure more of you are excited about, and that's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, Banjo Kazooie dropped just a few hours ago. Gotten chance to play with them a little bit. Logan, I know you just got a few minutes yourself. What did you think?
I'm a fan. I feels really good. I haven't really felt like I've explored their move set as much as I'd like to at this point, but I've only played a few rounds. I was able to beat a level 9 Ken, so that's good. I noticed there was like a limit on like the side special.
Yeah, you
There's
can use it
so that
5 times. I think per
yeah,
stock.
yeah, that would make sense because it seems like a kill move, like a really strong move. So um, I think I got two of the kills with that move.
Yeah, so I could definitely see that move getting used a lot in pro settings if people decide to take to Banjo Kazooie on to the pro level. They're
Yeah.
definitely going to be counting how many of those they have left with each stock because I
Mhm.
feel like it's going to be the make or break for this character. And then speaking of Banjo Kazooie, the model's great, the animations are great, the sound effects for the character are lifted from the N64 game. I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. This is a dream
It's
come true.
everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
So I'm not complaining.
man. I looked at some of the alt costumes, and a lot of them are based on some of the other characters from the first game, which I really like.
Yeah.
Uh, I did their classic mode run earlier tonight, and it was I think it was called Perfect Partners, and basically you fight a pantheon of well-renowned partner characters, so like Popo and Nana, the Ice Climbers, Donkey
Mhm.
Kong and Diddy Kong, that kind of thing. And then it
Yeah.
ends with you fighting Master Hand and Crazy Hand because, of
Good.
course. Uh, and it's awesome. So like on the first stage, I think you play on Spiral Mountain, and then it plays the
Mhm.
Spiral Mountain theme. The next one you play on the Animal Crossing island, and it plays the theme of Treasure Trove Cove, and they keep up that theme all the way through. It's really cool.
Yeah.
The songs, I should talk about that, are amazing. Treasure Trove Cove is one of my favorite like overworld tracks from any game, and just to know that it's in Smash Brothers now is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conman, they got 10 music tracks, which cover pretty much the majority of the first game. So like all the bigger major worlds got songs: Treasure Trove Cove, Spiral Mountain, uh, Freeze Easy Peak, things like that. Yeah, and it's fantastic. Spiral Mountain as a stage. Have you gotten to play that yet?
I've not.
So it's it's weird. It's a little bit like the Yggdrasil's altar from Dragon Quest in that it's a flat stage that occasionally has platforms show up to it. And then its main hook is that it spins around periodically, which rearranges the landing platform along the side because there's that hill that goes up around the mountain before you hit the peak, and that will change position as the stage spins around. And that's the main hook of the stage. There's not really any major gimmicks outside of that. Nothing can come from the background and hurt you, so Grunty isn't going to come to the foreground and blow you up, and Mumbo isn't going to transform you into a pumpkin or anything like that.
Hmm.
But it looks great from a visual standpoint. You can see all of the what are they called? Not the honeycombs, but they're the ringed ones that add to Banjo's health bar if you collect enough of them. And there's enough for a single set in Spiral Mountain stage, and you can see them all around the stage, as well as a Banjo trophy, which is an extra life in that game. There's one hidden towards his house that is perfectly in view. So they really captured Spiral Mountain outside of the enemies, because there's really no enemies in it other than the buzz bomb. So yeah, Banjo's awesome, and I intend to play more of him after the end of this podcast.
Same.
But that's not the only thing that happened. We got a new mode. Sakurai also claimed this was the last new mode coming to the game, and it's Home Run Contest. It's finally here. After all this time, it came back. But it didn't come back quite the way I was expecting it to. It's got a nice new coat of paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a really beautiful stage.
Yeah, the presentation is really solid too. Obviously there was, 3 different, you get solo, co-op, and versus, and then like there's that whole animation of like, oh, the harder you hit it, like it kind of breaks through the atmosphere into space, and
the camera like shifts behind you when you hit it at the end.
Yeah, and it's measured in like kilometers as opposed to like feet. And also like the bat doesn't drop until like 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's new for this.
So instead of just starting off right away. So it threw me off when I first was doing it. I was like, wait a minute.
I think my record right now is just over 350 kilometers with Ganondorf.
Oh, wow. I think I got like 115 kilometers with Banjo-Kazooie.
It's pretty good. I think I was around there when I used them. They were the first people I tried it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad that's back. I'm a little sad that it's not available online like it was in Brawl. But, I'm glad it's here, honestly.
So Sakurai did say that it's the last new mode?
I believe he did during his presentation.
Dang, dude. Like, all I wanted, like, the last thing I really, really wanted was Target Smash. Like, that was the only other thing that I was really hoping on. So...
Conman is pointing out that Sakurai was calling out people who use 2 controllers to get high scores. He was also making fun of himself because he uses 2 controllers to demonstrate the game. But then he leans in and he says, "Play with a friend, please." We want to see those true scores online, not fake ones, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's really fake, but Sakurai can say what he wants. It's his game. In addition to that, we actually got a character reveal, and this came as a surprise to probably nobody, but it's Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury.
Yeah.
And that was really it. He didn't show us so much gameplay, though during his presentation he's like, I do want to show you a little gameplay, and he showed us 2 special moves. But his character model looks sick. I really like the way he is from a presentation standpoint, and I'm excited to have him in the game. I really don't know much about him personally, so I'm going to use this as an excuse.
Kind of in the same boat. I've probably played Fatal Fury, owning some of these retro consoles throughout the years. I remember having a copy of Fatal Fury, but again,
did you have a Neo Geo?
I didn't. No, I guess not. I mean, was it only on Neo Geo?
Good question. I will check.
Or was Fatal Fury on other?
I think later entries were on other consoles, but
yeah, I probably played later entries if they were on other consoles. I think probably Sega Genesis if it was on there.
But regardless, it was ported to Genesis.
Okay, yeah. Then I probably played a little bit, but again, I'm not terribly familiar with the franchise. But yeah, cool. I like getting characters that I don't really know a ton about.
Yeah, me too. I think I was actually more interested in his stage, which I guess was the King of Fighters arena.
Okay.
In the series, it looks really cool. because it's like super deep and there's a lot of detail in the background, and the stadium is huge.
Yeah.
And I like kind of those stages that have crowds in them in Smash Bros.
Hmm.
You tie it up with the crowd cheers that the game adds, and it just makes for a really cool experience. So, yeah, I'm excited to try him out when he launches in November of 2019. They gave us a month. That's the first time they've done that with one of these, I think, right out of the gate.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. Other than maybe Piranha Plant, but
Did he give us a
even
window for Piranha Plant right away? I can't remember.
maybe not right away. I don't know.
Well, for the main DLC fighters, this is the first time.
Yes.
So that's cool. And then they also use this as an opportunity to tell us that the Fighters Pass will not be the end of new fighters coming to Smash Ultimate.
Damn, that was so exciting. I was
I'm
like,
so
oh
pumped.
man, they're giving us more.
I have to wonder though. Like I would have expected them to reveal that after Fighter 5 was announced. But they did
Mhm.
it here at Fighter 4. And I have a theory about this. I think the final character will release either in December or in January and be revealed before the Game Awards. And at the Game
Okay.
Awards, maybe that character will be dropped that night. Excuse me. And they will reveal the first fighter for the second wave of DLC characters.
Okay.
So
I can
rather
see
than
that.
bookending it like I originally thought they were doing, now that we know there's more, I think that's going to be the stage for the next character.
God, there's so many characters. They're just
Yeah,
gonna keep adding more. Like, it's really, really exciting to know that, like, dude, there's so many more opportunities for different characters that everybody wants to see, and obviously with the ones that they've given us, like, man, it could be literally anything.
the way he phrased it too, he's like, he didn't call it season 2. They
Mm.
just phrased it as more DLC fighters are coming. So they didn't necessarily put a cap on this. They're just like, we're just going to keep doing it. And I'm like, if you do
Yeah,
this for the rest of this game's life, that's kind of rad. And also, wow, that's a lot of work.
it's a lot. I mean, but it's the ultimate Super Smash Bros. Like, it's very much living up to its name.
Yeah.
Um, and even going back to Sakurai apparently saying that this is the last new mode home run contest coming to the game. Who knows if that's even true?
He kind of played to the camera a lot in a way. Like, people used to say that Sakurai was a tease and that he, likes to play with us. And for the first time, we got to see him do it in person.
Yeah.
He really is like that. So I don't know. I don't know if I take him at his word that this is the last mode. But I want to talk for a minute about how he talked about Smash Ultimate when he talked about the new characters coming. He
Yeah.
made it sound like the reason he's doing this is because it will never happen again. We will never have all these characters in a game again. So he just wants to keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger until they tell him he can't do it anymore. That way, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is always Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, even if there's a
Yeah,
sequel.
I mean, think about the amount of work it takes just getting like the rights to these characters and coordinating that between, all these different companies. Um yeah, it's hard to believe that they would be able to make a more ambitious Super Smash Bros. Under the current restrictions of how games are made and how business operates. So
Yeah, we've always talked about wanting this game to be a platform, and I think Sakurai just told us that's what's happening during that
yeah, like we're
presentation.
just gonna get ports of Ultimate for the next few generations, which I mean at this point, like, cool. Let's just keep building on it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people love this game. A lot of Melee fans love this game. Uh, Sakurai found the one, and he's sticking with it. Dream Drop Sword in the chat says it's the ultimate media crossover, period. Yeah.
Yeah, like has there ever been so many IPs represented in a single game, you know?
Nope. Briefly, why don't we discuss what might come with the next characters? Are they going to stick with third parties like they've been doing, or are we going to actually get some Nintendo properties to come to the game too?
I think with the current Fighters Pass, I think it'll all be third parties. But then I would hope that it would be a mix, right?
Hmm.
Because there might be some Nintendo characters that haven't been explored that might be worth bringing to the series. Um,
They've mentioned a few here in the chat that I'd actually want to bring up.
okay.
Uh, a character from Fire Emblem Three Houses, someone from Arms. Uh, there was another good one, Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Hmm.
So like, there's a lot of great candidates from recent games that didn't make the cut for Ultimate because of timing, and now there's an opportunity to put those characters in the game.
Hmm.
A Generation 8 Pokemon that could be in there too, and that leaves the opportunity for characters like Geno, Sora, my personal request, Monster Hunter. They get a second chance. It's not over. Dream's not dead yet.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the Doom Slayer, Doom Marine. That would be a good one, especially now that all of the games are going to be on Switch.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, every game in that franchise is going to be on Switch, isn't
Yeah,
it?
every like main entry and Doom 64. Like, whoa.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Yeah, so I don't know how long they're going to do this, but I will take it. I'll just keep taking it if they keep giving it to us. And then one last thing to talk about for this direct. It was the last announcement in the presentation and something that I also predicted would happen, so go me. A remake, not a remaster, a remake of Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Editions coming to Switch in 2020.
Yes. I never got to play through the entirety of this game. I played a huge chunk of it. I loved everything about it. But I never got to finish it. And like now the only way is if like you either have again like a Wii U with a downloaded copy or on 3DS. But now that like they're bringing like a whole remake, it looks prettier. It's going to be on a contemporary console. You said they're bringing in like cut content that
Content that
wasn't.
was cut from the original game will be reinserted in the Definitive Edition.
Yeah, that's so intense. So and again, because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was such a success, it is great that I will get the chance and so many other people will get the chance to actually experience this very highly rated title. That was, oh man, it was so weird. Just like, when that game was released on the Wii and, me and my younger brother heard about it and we just knew it was like really, really um, highly rated and it kind of went like under the radar and just gained a lot of notoriety for something that was like, hey, we're gonna release this and it's gonna be a limited release. And but yeah, giving everybody the chance to play it is such a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I bought this game for 3DS, and I just couldn't stand playing it on that platform. So I'm glad that it will be coming to Switch in a much, much prettier fashion.
Yeah,
Some of the
much
comparison
prettier.
screens are unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
almost a brand new game.
Yeah, I hope that we actually get some expressions on the characters' faces, which is something that was really, really lacking in the initial release and the
Hmm.
3DS release as well. They were just very like, oh, their mouths are moving, but there's really not a lot of expression on the faces. So,
Joe says
thankfully,
Xenoblade was ugly.
it was pretty ugly.
Yeah, I'm so happy because like I played through Xenoblade Chronicles Tool Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and absolutely adored it. Uh, Santi, did you not hear about this? uh, yeah. So So having that context with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and now getting to go back and play Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I cannot wait. Especially because I know how the two games connect because I played through Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and it's actually pretty rad. So I'm excited to see kind of the genesis of that in the first game.
Yeah. Did you purchase Xenoblade 2 on cartridge or download?
I have a cart.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So what's happening now is we're gonna have to get at least a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles. I'm gonna play through that, and then I'm just gonna steal Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from you and play through it that way.
That's fine. I still need to get the Torna DLC, but it's $40.
Yeah.
But it's like a 10 or 12 hour campaign, so I'm excited to give that a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this was big news for me. And I'm sorry, there's something about Smash Ultimate I forgot to mention. And that's Mii Fighter costumes. Woo! But no, one Mii Fighter costume in particular, Sans from Undertale. What? That's rad.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
I
not just a costume. It's just Sans.
Yeah, essentially. Like when I saw I think it was Joe in the group snap was like, I can't believe this is an actual screenshot from Smash. And I was like, wait, did they announce him as a character? Didn't realize it was a Mii Fighter costume. Looks great. Looks great. I'm glad that Undertale's getting that rep. Though now we know we're not getting Sans as a character. So
I
all of
think
those.
this is a pretty appropriate way for Sans to join the roster or for Undertale to have any representation.
Mhm.
Because it's getting special treatment too, because Sans, if you buy him, comes with a remix of Megalovania composed by Toby Fox for Ultimate,
Yeah.
exclusively for Ultimate.
Oh, okay. So a little bit off of this, but also related. I thought it was incredible that much of the music for Little Town Hero is composed
By
by
Toby
Toby
Fox?
Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
actually a
wow.
pretty big convincing factor for me to give that game a shot because I love the music in Undertale.
Yeah. I mean, it probably goes to show just like the kind of popularity that Undertale has specifically in Japan, that they would be like, hey, yeah, let's get Toby Fox to do the soundtrack for this Game Freak developed game.
Yeah, Undertale is massive in Japan. I don't think people here really recognize how much they like that game.
Mhm.
I'm so sad. I don't have any money right now, so I can't even afford to buy the Mii costume so I can get him in the music track.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're like super broke because those things are like 75 cents a piece.
Yeah. I can't do it. I want to real bad.
Yeah, I'm in a similar place financially. So let's just talk about our financials instead. Just kidding. Uh,
So yeah, Sans for
that's
Undertale
the
from
rest of the
Undertale.
podcast.
Undertale's got some rep in Smash Bros, and you can put the song on any stage that collects from the other category, if I understand correctly. Sandman in the chat says every battle room online currently has that as the selected music. Yeah, and that's the Nintendo Direct in a nutshell. It was basically 2 directs because Sakurai's presentation alone was 25 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it actually had some news in it. So, yeah, I am very pleased with this direct. I might have enjoyed this more even than the E3 direct, and the E3 direct was great.
Yeah. So do you have a rating? Do you have a grade that you would give this one?
I'd probably give this one a good A minus.
Yeah, I think this is a solid A. Obviously um wow. Like getting some of those drops, Dune 64, Jedi Outcast, more DLC fighters, just the small things to fill out those things. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, the beautiful content that we're getting with Luigi's Mansion 3, and then obviously a little bit more of Animal Crossing New Horizons, like this definitely like I was anticipating a good direct, and it definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, me too. I think the only things they could have done to get me up to that A plus was announce Mario Maker DLC, uh, or a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely did not expect anything from Breath of the Wild 2, and I'm glad I didn't because obviously it didn't happen. We're probably
Right.
not going to hear from that game again until next June. Uh, but yeah, like there's not a ton they could have done to make this better for me. That was an exceptional Nintendo Direct, one of the best they've had in maybe ever.
Yeah. Very good. Very
and
good. Good on you, Nintendo.
I'm
Killing.
glad because like the last few directs, like we've mentioned, have Nintendo has kind of figured out their flow of their presentations. You know, you have a big first party announcement at the beginning. This time it was Overwatch, which is big in its own right. You talk about games we already know about in the middle, and then you reveal something brand new at the end. And they had the added thing of revealing that Smash is going to get more DLC, which is huge, right towards the beginning. And then a lot of great third-party announcements. And then Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was the perfect way to end it for me. So, I mean, with all that, like, I don't really have much more to say. I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Yeah. My wallet hurts,
Mine
but I'm
too.
happy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And tomorrow we can start playing some Super Nintendo games and the DLC for Tetris 99.
Dude, I've been wanting to like get through Super Mario World for the longest time. And I keep trying on like my SNES Classic Edition. Um, and they just keep putting it in front of my face. Like it's only a matter of time till I just struggle through some of the things, or just played enough where you know, I'm better at controlling Mario.
Hey, and if you need a hand, I can just help you out.
Thanks, bud.
I got your back. You better play Yoshi's Island.
Yes, yes. Those are there's a whole back catalog of classic games that I'd love to get through.
We should also do some Kirby's Dream Course versus online because that's a fun game. Uh, to answer your question, Santi, they did use the Xenoblade 2 art style for the remaster, and it looks great. So get home and watch the trailer, bud. So that's it from us. I think I'm going to play some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because I want to play with Banjo a little bit more. And I guess if you guys want to play some online, I'll probably log on and fight some of you. And then tomorrow, well, also, I guess tomorrow, if any of you want to play Kirby Super Clash with me, I'd like to try that out.
I can't wait till that 2.0 update for Tetris 99. I am very much looking forward to having some things to work towards other than just getting better.
Absolutely. So I guess with all that in mind, guys, make sure to come back for the next episode of Nintendo Stuff. We may or may not have one at the end of the week because of this direct. We call this a Nintendo Stuff Extra, but you might as well just call it episode 53. So we will see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at BabbittBabs. Follow Logan at LoggyDoves. Follow us as a collective at Breakroom Arcade. Make sure to join our Discord server if you want to keep up with the conversations with us or play some Smash Brothers. Discord link is in the description. And if you really like what you saw here, make sure to like and subscribe here to the channel. And if you want to help us out, maybe even consider joining us as a member or helping us out on our Patreon. Lots of ways to help support the show. So thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you next time. Don't break your backs. Break in the games. But for now, break time is over.
And play Doom.
And Doom 64.